talking now with Rick Mesher, who is a trademark and patent attorney with Porter Wright here in Columbus. And Rick, as we know, yesterday, the Ohio State University got a trademark on the word "the." And people hear that and they say, that is the most common word in the English language. How is it that someone can get a trademark on a word like that?
Right, that's a very common misconception, that a trademark gives you the total exclusive rights to a word. But in fact, that's not true, or it's not correct, I should say. What a trademark registration gives you is exclusive rights to a particular word or logo or symbol that is associated with the selling of particular goods or services. So in this particular case, OSU has the right to use "the" when selling T-shirts and hats sold through the channels of trade normally done by sporting teams and collegiate athletics, right? So it's much narrower. They only have the rights, for shirts and hats and in the channel of trade of collegiate sporting apparel. So it's not even all apparel.
So what's comparable to this? I think you said to me earlier, Apple, right? Give me the comparison.
Right. Like the word Apple, you would think that Apple Inc. couldn't have rights to the word Apple, right? Because people use the word Apple and people sell products, like apple juice and apple pie, all kinds of things that we all love, right? And Apple actually has a trademark registration for Apple. As a matter of fact, they have many registrations, but they're all to things like computers and watches and all the kind of goods and services that Apple sells. So their exclusive rights for Apple are limited to just their product zone, and that's similar to here, where OSU's exclusive rights to "the" is limited to just their product zone of T-shirts, hats, and in the collegiate athletic wear. So since their rights are limited to that area, everybody's still free to use the word in any other manner. They just can't use it on T-shirts, hats for collegiate athletics.
So why do they need it then? I mean, who are they protecting themselves against?
Well, they're not protecting anyone right now, because if others were using "the" in the manner that they're using, then they wouldn't be able to obtain the rights, right? The registration. And I know there's, there are some other schools that even have "the" in their name, but they don't use them in the manner that Ohio State does. For example, I should have brought it along, but I have a hat with "the" on the front. And if you look at the hat, there's nothing there but "the," right? And the idea is that people see that hat, they recognize that it's a hat for The Ohio State University, right? Not any of these other schools that may use it in some other manner. And so what OSU is trying to do here is to prevent other schools from saying, hey, that's a great idea. Maybe they have "the" in their name. Let's start selling hats with "the" on the front as well. And the trademark registration, its purpose is to prevent consumer confusion, right? So that's why they get the exclusive right to use "the" on hats and T-shirts, because if another school started putting "the" on a hat, then you would see it and no one would know, is it this school or that school or the other school that all has "the." But since they have exclusive rights, everyone that sees that, at least everyone familiar with collegiate sports, is going to see "the" on a hat, and they're going to know that that person's a fan of The Ohio State University.
And they really do. They have branded that very well, haven't they? Across the country, people recognize that only Ohio State does this.
That's correct. I have friends throughout the country, and they're typically fans of other teams. So I always remind them about The Ohio State University, and they somewhat tease me about it a little bit, but they in other leagues outside the Big Ten and all the way on the West Coast, people in California recognize "the" as The Ohio State University. Whether they like it or not, they tend to like to tease about it. But the point is, they recognize that being from the Ohio State University.
All right, Rick, thank you so much for taking time to explain all this to us.
You're welcome.